Welcome in to the Rock Talk Studio, the place to find your next great rock and roll book or documentary to check out. This is the podcast that reviews, previews, and most importantly, recommends to you the good stuff, like today's book. Part coffee table stunner, part backstage brawl, here comes an explosive rock and roll retrospective of 40 years. I'm your host, Big Rick. Join me for an exclusive look into what's hitting the shelves and the screens, and get ready to rock your reading and viewing list. And today, the spotlight falls on the book Guns N' Roses at 40 by Martin Popoff. 40 years of chaos, creativity, and confrontation, and 40 in-your-face chapters is what this book is all about. It comes packaged in a sleek, embossed hardcover with full-color photography, gatefold timelines. You've got handmade flyers from the days on the Sunset Strip and memorabilia spreads. It's a really, really classy presentation, but it also has a rough feel to it that mirrors the band's raw energy. Really cool job with the way it's presented. I also like the book avoids the recycled visuals, and it digs a little bit deeper than the typical press shots we've seen for decades. With this one, you can expect some rare and unexpected visuals. And for a project like this that can tap into the behind-the-scenes details, but also expand on the 40-year legacy of the band, you need to bring in the big guns. And this one has Martin Popoff at the helm. Popoff is a writer of over 7,000 music reviews. Bow down to that. He has also written over 100 books on primarily rock and roll. And here's a cool little fact I found out about him. He also worked on the award-winning documentaries Rush, Behind the Lighted Stage, and ZZ Top, that little old band from Texas. Two of my favorite documentaries. If you haven't seen those docs, definitely put them on your must-watch list. Those are really cool. With Guns at 40, Popoff blends just the right amount of grit to the insight to help elevate the design and layout of this coffee table style book. The writing leans primarily into touchstone moments that shape the band's chaotic career, so you get 40 chapters that combine to tell this wild story. And the pictures, I can't stress enough, are just phenomenal. I just went over the book again before I started this podcast. I'm just blown away by the visual production of this book. So if you like that type of a read and that type of a book, this one is definitely great. The book also veers off a few times from tracking the standout moments along the timeline to take a look at a few of the band's solo careers. And there's also a couple of interviews that they included in this. I really like the one with Appetite's producer, Manny Charlton. And there's another one with Tommy Stinson that's really good too, that kind of added to the overall production of the book. I've got a little story here I want to interject. I was hoping there was going to be mention with some pictures of a warm-up show that Guns N' Roses did for the Use Your Illusion tour. My girlfriend at the time was driving down Hollywood Boulevard. She went past the Pantages Theater and she just heard on the radio that Guns is going to do a show at the Pantages Theater. She happened to just pull over, find a parking spot in Hollywood, which is amazing in itself, and get in line and get us fifth row tickets for this Guns show, this warm-up show. It was so good. They were on fire. You could tell it's been a little while since they played. They were really excited about the new music that was coming out, the Use Your Illusion stuff. I remember this with one of the first times Slash did the Godfather theme, that they started putting that into their shows. Amazing. I was really hoping there was going to be some shots of that, but not this time. This book, Guns N' Roses at 40, is less a standard band biography and more of a bold, high-impact artifact. This one has it all. It's heavy hardcover, killer layout, and packed with those photos. Author Martin Popoff does a really good job presenting a tightly curated, moment-by-moment look at the band's rise, turmoil, and then the reinvention. It's the Gunners from street-level beginning to global domination, and you get it all with this one. Guns N' Roses at 40 is 191 pages, and it's written by Martin Popoff. I've got some more really cool news to share about this book, and that's coming up after the break. Today's episode is sponsored by Motorbooks, one of my favorite sponsorships. I love talking about their book line. They always deliver really cool, very well put together coffee table style books, and they always give me great things to give away. So thanks to Motorbooks for sponsoring this. So far, I've given away from Motorbooks a book called Rush at 50. There was The Queen, A Night at the Opera, 50 years. And now this great book, Guns N' Roses at 40. And for this sponsorship, they're doubling down. They're giving me 2 books to give away. So 2 people, 2 of my listeners, 2 of you are going to get a chance to win this book. And all you need to do to win the book is subscribe to my newsletter, the Rock Talk Studio Blast. So here's what you don't get if you sign up for the Rock Talk Studio Blast. You don't get a bunch of spam, not a ton of emails blowing up your inbox. I send out the blast 1 time a month, and that is always on the last Friday of the month. You also don't get 3 or 4 pages of ramble. The blast is a quick hit. That's why I call it the blast. And I was just proofing the new one that's coming out this week, and it times it at about 4.5 minutes. So it takes about 4.5 minutes to read through the whole blast. And another thing you don't get with the blast is charged. My subscriptions right now are totally free. So that's all you have to do to get in to win this great book. But what you do get with the blast is a ton of informative stuff about the world of rock and roll books and documentaries. It's an extension of this podcast. I created it as a way to reach people who want to have kind of a definitive place to go to look up, say, what's coming out, what's new, what can I go to, what can I check out? So in the blast, you do get a top 5 current list, and that changes every month. There's a new top 5. It's kind of like a power ranking of books and docs. Speaking of that, I do want to say that there is a podcast episode that I just did. The last 2 podcast episodes are the current top 5 rock and roll books and docs of 2025. So if you want to find out what the current top list looks like, you can check out the podcast in the archives. The archives, too, are absolutely free. And the blast also includes new releases that are coming out. So you got all the dates of all the new releases, the current up-to-date, up-to-the-minute releases are in there. There's also a few articles that I place in there about books and docs that I've got my eye on, pointing you into things that I'm going to recommend. So the blast, again, is free, comes out 1 time a month, and all you have to do to win the books that I'm giving away is sign up for the blast. Speaking of winners, congratulations to JP. She was the winner of last month's book giveaway, and that was a copy of the great new book, Buzz Me In, Inside the Record Plant Studio. If you're into recording and how albums were made, this is a period in this just from like 69 to 80, so right in that 70s, right into that juicy part of rock and roll. Iconic records, Hotel California, Rumors, Born to Run, Damn the Torpedoes, Songs in the Key of Life, 1999, list goes on and on. So you've got how all those records were made, and then the wild stories about what was going on with artists and what was going on in the studio. That was a great book, Buzz Me In, Inside the Record Plant Studio. Congrats again to JP. I'm going to put the email address to sign up for the blast in the show notes. It's info@rocktalkstudio.com. Just go to the show notes, send me over an email, say, Big Rick, send me that blast, and I'll hook you up. Coming up next week, the documentary that knocked Becoming Led Zeppelin as the best doc released so far off the top of the list. Who is the new #1 rock and roll documentary? Yes, someone actually did it. They dethroned the champ, and you'll get to hear all about it in this Don't Miss episode next week. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Love talking rock and roll, especially when I get to talk about Guns N' Roses and this cool book, Guns N' Roses at 40. Remember, you can win a copy. All you have to do is send me an email, info@rocktalkstudio.com. All right, let's tear it down, pack it up, and head on down the road. I'm going to see you next time in the Rock Talk Studio.